Hello, everybody. Okay, so here I am. I'm on Instagram and I'm over here on YouTube. And today I am just coming out to share more about what it is that I do and what being an earth whisperer, as I call it, means so that I can either assist you if you're now in a position of navigating your journey a little bit differently. For those who are just wanting to use their own gifts in a new way and bring those gifts out in the world. We are in incredible times, which we hear all the time. But the truth is, what's happening is more and more people are going to start to open up their intuitive connections. Okay. And if we don't have that intuition anchored in us, and we can't breathe it all the way into our body and really root ourselves in the earth, we end up, living with a body that is being impulsed all the time, right? We get these like jerks and this is going on and stuff. So, and it's okay. That's part of the journey, and that's what I help clients with, right? So, and there's lots of people, but let's just talk about what I can share here. So, my journey originally, I will say, as an earth whisperer, is I grew up farming. Okay, we were farmers. I grew up working with the land. I felt so at peace in nature, right? Because isn't she the most beautiful place on earth, being in balance and all? And I could sense so much, except I didn't know how to bring it out to my own family, right? That's kind of the crazy one because I could talk to, the critters, the trees, the plants, that type of thing. Now, cut to years later when I was a chef, and I would just work with the vegetables and the fruits, and I would talk to them because I would ask them, okay, how do we want to do this? And it was a partnership. Certainly, it was like me just activating more of my own senses, right? Our physical senses, as in, I would like, oh, what do you want? What do you want? And I'd smell it, and I'd open up my own five sensory. Um, Capacity, so that I started to just have a more dynamic connection. Now, did I always use it in that way? No, right? Because I didn't really realize that it was something I could do consistently. Let's go there. Then, cut to further along on my journey where you get these wake up calls. My wake up call or awakening, if you're not even sure what that term means, is I got that big wake up call. These chronic conditions that I were having actually had this big, beautiful label attached to it, which was just an experience of something that the medical profession called endometriosis. Now, I realize for those of you that might be watching and who have experienced or are experiencing any type of chronic condition, any pains, my heart goes. I mean, I was on a in a meeting yesterday and on a live with somebody, and I had no idea this was going to come up, that they too had navigated, and they work with people as well that have endometriosis. And we ended up speaking around the amount of self-love, self-compassion, trusting that body to lead and guide us to the next. So again, I'm just going to park that because it's really about honing in on what it is I do as an earth whisperer and supporting you or just encouraging you even to start to bring your gifts out into the world. I'm being encouraged more and more and more to do that. And I love it. I mean, it's time. So anyway, what then happened through that awakening is I needed to, collapse everything and rebuild up that intuitive part of me, that part of, okay, I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to trust it. That's the part that's often missing, right? We don't love ourselves and we don't value ourselves. We don't respect it. And we certainly don't trust the wisdom because we have so many limitations or limiting beliefs and patterns that we've been running, habits and patterns and behaviors that we need to turn them around. So huge, huge stuff that you want to remember. You're going to be dissolving and dismantling, deconstructing these limitations until you get to a point where it becomes very natural to do because you can see them for what they are. Now, what then happened as I would tune in more and more is because I started to meditate. I started to move through and trust my body and listen to different mentors and guides and healers and channels and all of this. And I really just kept, I'm going to say practicing because it's so important that we practice. Now, I was practicing. I was actually supporting I was working with a partner, and we were helping clients because we understood that our own bodies, and we had both healed chronic conditions and moved beyond them. So that's sort of how it started. And we just started to bring back, okay, what's the brain and the emotional body, the mental, the emotional, the energetic, the spiritual body doing? We then went into and off to Egypt. And we were part of a planetary um, alignment with Matias de Stefano, if anyone knows that. So we were in Egypt, of course, there. If you ever get a chance or you want to learn more or know more, there's lots of people that take beautiful retreats. I know friends that are taking a retreat in June, but whatever that is, there's many out there. But it's the reason I'm sharing this is it then activated something else within me because leading up to it, we trained as to how to connect more and more with nature herself, with Gaia's spirit um, the um, the deities that were there, the plants that were there, the buildings, right? So we all, as a group, right, we were doing it online, we're opening our own and remembering more of our own capacity to connect telepathically, intuitively, just opening things up. So it was beautiful. Once I came back and I started delving into that more, it was like, oh my gosh, I just love that I can talk to the planet wherever I want, get messages, heal with her, recalibrate things in me, use that for clients. And none of that stopped while I was simultaneously doing my own healing, because the only way that it continues to uh, amplify and you trust it more and more is by the very fact that you're doing your own work and you're understanding that dynamic relationship because you're in relationship with all of it and how, oh my gosh, I am the planet. I am, and I kind of always knew that, but of course you forget and then you remember and then you have people around you. And I came across it months ago with my own family that it's like thinking I'm crazy that they too are a plant or the rocks or a cat or whatever. Anyway, that's another day. But certainly ask me if you've got any questions about that. Anyway, back to what happened is I continued to just work with the energies, the frequencies, the vibrations, and I have a few different unique gifts. I do have a capacity, and I will share it right here, that I can change weather patterns. Now, do I do it just because I have the power? Absolutely not. Can I do it in a heartbeat where the where a storm's coming through and I'm like, I'm going to redirect? No, that's not how I use and connect in because at the end of the day, nature's doing what's nature's doing. It's that relationship, right? But I do have that capacity. In fact, you have it too, and you have other gifts that I don't have. So that's what this is about. What do you have? What don't I have? What are you think you have and you want to develop more of? Where are you not trusting you to begin with? And your body's this, again, this, it's either tight or it's like um sparking all the time and you just don't even know what to do because things are moving around so much. So again, I always want to breathe and we want to stay right here, right grounded. Now, what then the modality, right? And it keeps changing and moving and expanding because I'm learning more. Even when I would do something, I was like, or some information would come in, I'm like, I have no idea what this means, right? I would share with friends, and I say friends who also channel, intuit, have their own connections in different ways. And even still, you never knew what the outcome was going to be. Some I don't know because I don't even remember what they were, but they needed to do something inside of me as well. But oftentimes, in hindsight, right, it could have been months, it could be years later that it's like, wow. And that activation or that little tiny shift in a way that I would navigate something with a client or myself, because I become my own test subject first. Then I can work with um, the guides, the guides, right? Earth, cosmos, all the guys, and just, okay, who's here? Who's meant to be a part of this? When I pull in frequencies, I can move them around the body, in the body, open the body, um, recalibrate you, reattune the body. I want to cut too. So that's part of a craft that I do. And I know I'm kind of going all these pieces, but I just want to honor your time and just give you snippets so that if anything just resonates, right? Then we're going to go further, right? It's been a long time that I've gone on here and I've sat and really shared what it is, not just what I do, well, certainly what I do, but how I can really help support the body that's moving through it. Because everything that I do is about trusting the whole body. We are a whole body. There's lots of systems going on inside of us, right? And we want to get them working together so that we're not pushing away and separating ourselves any further. So, few things for me to keep um, honing in, enhancing my connection with the planet, because that I felt it was easier to do than on people's bodies, just because I was like, oh, I don't know if I wanted to move energy for someone else. So again, I really trusted friends and asked them to say, you know what, I'm practicing, right? Can you be a support mechanism for me, as in just let me have a service and let me know what's going on. Anyway, so that was happening at the same time. But what I would do, and I still do to this day, so this is this is big. Whatever lights you up, whatever allows you to keep practicing with your gifts, do that. So for me, I have a big world map. And I don't physically have to go to it anymore, but sometimes I do because I want to physically touch the map. But it's like, okay, where in the world should I go today? Who has a message for me? And boop, the finger will land on a part of the map, and I will sit on my chair, my meditation chair, and I sit and I go and I connect in the way that I do. And if you don't have practices, that's where the reaching out so that we can work together potentially, or I can help you attune something or navigate something. And if you have your own, this might just be something that you choose to incorporate. But I would sit there and then I would go into speaking to the land. What's the message? Right? I would play with it, right? Because I do come in very much with a playful. I I'm smiling because they're here anyway. The elementals, right? So the fairies, the gnomes, the nature divas, they're all in the land, right? They're around it, and I can connect with them. So many times I'd be like, okay, let's play. I don't want this to be serious, and yet there was some very serious things that I would come across. But I really went into it with a curious. So let's use curious, right? Like I would just jump in, right? Like a child, right? I'm like, okay, give it to me. What are we going to learn today? And that's when every time that I would do a little bit more, I'd come out with these interesting messages, and then I'd share with my friends again, groups that I trusted, and they would see it from a whole different perspective, which is the beauty, right? I don't come into it with knowing exactly what it's meant for you, or you, because I'm on both. But it's interesting, and this is the game, this is the beauty, this is the seeing the different perspectives, but it's you choosing what works for you. So I've never stopped doing that. Sometimes I'll just sit and just, okay, I'll take me somewhere, right? I want to go to this place. What can I do? And that, in and of itself, is another part of a journey that is happening. There's many, many groups that are doing this, which is we send out um, energies through our hearts to help um, change the pressure, the dynamics of what's going on in any given scenario situation, right? So we send what you would maybe have heard as healing energy, right? We're sending it because we're opening our hearts. The heart has and is the most beautiful gift we have in terms of sending out and radiating out what we can do and share and support the rest of humanity with, right? So that too is its own journey because that will end into a lot of the challenges because until you keep opening your own heart up, these things really don't it's not that they don't happen, it's just you refine them in a different way because there's many people that have gifts and they don't know what to do with them. And that's the journey. Get back in the body. You got to get in the body because a lot of times we jump out of the body. So got to keep keeping you here. Um, so anyway, that is a practice that now I love to do because sometimes I'm guided to go there and shift some things, move. I can feel other people that might be there doing something as well. And I can often feel the difference between the land and the people. Um, Again, there's different clairs that we have in the world. Some people definitely clairvoyance and see it. I have a very attuned sense of things. That doesn't mean that I don't have some seeing in that way. That's just developing more and more. That's just part of the journey. So you might be somebody that your visual cortex, right? The visual part of you, the clairvoyance part of you is very strong, and yet the subtlety may not be. So, and then there's other ones, but we'll just leave it there. So then basically all of that is to say, the earth whispering part is getting very quiet, being very setting the boundaries for myself and the area around me so that I keep trusting my own body for that piece of information, right? And also not just the external planet, we are the planet. We hold it all. And that is a big part of the bigger journey, as in understanding how connected you are to things. But that, so if you even just want to use the earth, right, as your body, I speak to the body. I speak to my own. I can speak into yours, with yours. I don't really speak into yours. I want to be clear on that. But I can draw out messages so that when it's in physical form, I can relay things and you get to keep uncovering and decoding your own human experience. And when I say that, that decoding of your human experience is really just how do I um, deconstruct and dissolve and dismantle the limiting beliefs that I'm holding. These patterns, which are so beautiful and so brilliant, we needed them. We needed to know that that thing that I created or that experience that I did not like actually has a polar opposite over here. If I know what I don't want, I then know what I do want. So it's so key that we keep getting into our bodies, right? And any healer, intuitive channel, whatever it is, they are all still being activated, not only by the energies outside, they're being activated. Well, it's all being activated internally, but they're being activated for, hold on a second, you didn't see this. So now open up a little more, a little more, a little more. So those of us that use our gifts, I guess, as an everyday career, business, or just you could be working for someone else. You could be working in the government. You could have intuitive gifts. You could be working as a financial advisor with intuitive gifts. I know people in all different realms, right? It's just if you're using your intuition because you continue to keep strengthening it, that's the beauty that this world needs, right? So that each of us can keep gifting the other person another little perspective of what we don't see it so that we can make our perspective a little more whole. And we actually don't even have to agree, right, with what they're saying because it may not be right for us. Or we may have already integrated that part. Or we know what it means to us in a different way than they're sharing it. So there's dynamics, dynamics, dynamics. At the core of all of this is I'm an earth whisperer. I spiritually connect the pieces support you to spiritually connect your pieces. Um, I don't know what's coming. I know more gifts are coming, and I call them gifts. I know that um, there's more. There's more. I guess that's the other thing. I don't know what will be opening up other than my heart is the biggest thing. So that I can keep holding whatever challenges come up for myself and not see them as a challenge, see them as something very interesting and something that I get to create around. So I think I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm just going to say thank you very much. And I'll be back soon. And if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments, either on YouTube or here on Instagram. Ask me questions. Reach out, share with what your gifts are. We need to keep getting this message out to the world. Love you all. Thank you. Bye.